Hey guys, well, welcome back. I just want to show my new studio. I've got a little bit of goodness here in the background. I've got a bit of Lego hanging out there with the LED lights and the bookshelves rearranged in this new place that I'm at. It's been a while since I've recorded something, but I just wanted to see, I just wanted to test this out. But I thought I might talk about the latest movie from HBO Max, which is the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League, which I just watched last night. A little bit of backstory about how this movie came about. Effectively, Zack Snyder and his wife were producing and directing this movie, but unfortunately their daughter died during the middle of the production, and so they decided to step aside and look after their family affairs. And so Joss Whedon, the director of the original Avengers movie and Age of Ultron, decided to step in to basically fill that void. But Joss Whedon is kind of notorious for having a very particular creative vision, and so it made it more of his movie rather than what Zack Snyder had in his original version. And so changed a couple of the plot lines, moved a couple of things around, made characters a little bit more quirky, that kind of thing. Now, when the movie actually finally came out, people who were Zack Snyder fans were really upset that Joss Whedon actually went a different direction to where Zack Snyder was originally going with the original DCEU. And so they demanded what they called the Snyder cut of this movie. And so they were petitioning it for many, many years. They started throwing money at advertisers. They started petitioning. These people did a lot of things to get this off the ground. And it's thanks to the fans that we get this version of the Justice League. And man, it's a slog. It's like a 4-hour movie. And to be honest, I thought I was really gonna feel the length of this movie, but I didn't. I actually really, really enjoyed it. And it made me get to thinking, like, maybe this is the best way forward for these sort of movies. Like, I actually think this cut could not have been in any other way. It actually needed to be a 4-hour movie because there was so much to explain, and particularly coming from off the bat of, because I think we only had Batman v Superman and Man of Steel, and I think maybe Wonder Woman, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think Wonder Woman was even out then yet. So there was a lot of exposition to fill in to basically get all these characters up to speed for this movie. And we hadn't been introduced to the Flash, and we hadn't been introduced to Cyborg yet. So, and we only got briefly introduced to Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman. So there was very little to no backstory on any of these characters. Even Batman only really got like half a movie in Batman v Superman. He didn't get like a full movie to himself. And you can imagine that the studios, like Warner Brothers, is basically trying to really propel their DCEU forward using this, movie to really catch up to the Avengers. I mean, they are like 10 movies behind basically from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they were desperately trying to catch up. Now, Zack Snyder, to his credit, when you watch this 4-hour movie, does a pretty good job actually filling in all the backstory for all the characters that were kind of lacking. I mean, notably, we actually get a backstory for the Flash, and we also get a backstory for Cyborg, and those were two really like fluffy characters in the original Justice League movie from 2017. But in this movie, they give them some nice character motivations. The relationship between Cyborg and his dad is a lot more nuanced and complex. We actually get a bit more of a deep dive on why he doesn't like his father and what his father actually did to him. And how his father kind of feels towards him. In a way, it kind of was like, hey, he's basically got an Asian dad. You know, the guy walks all the time and he doesn't express any of his feelings, missing always like, sports games and that kind of thing because he's working all the time. I get it. You got an Asian dad. That's fine. But I get it, like it was kind of nice that they fleshed that out. Same with the Flash. It was nice to see that Barry Allen got a bit more screen time, kind of sort of explaining a lot more about his backstory, where he was, him and his dad. I can't remember if that was in the original story, but it was kind of nice seeing a bit more of him and his dad, and also like why he's kind of stuck where he is at the moment in his life, giving him a little bit more, a more rounded character of why he was doing what he was doing, and not just making him like a kind of scared, whimpery kid, which he kind of is, but not just that, like he just was trying to figure out how to fit in. He had this ability and he's just trying to figure out how to fit in into this new world, particularly now that Superman is on the scene. I mean, it was kind of a nice way to see how opening up that character to the rest of the DCEU. I'm really excited actually because they do kind of incorporate his abilities a lot more into this movie, where you actually get to see a bit more of Barry Allen. do more than just be fast. Because I feel like in the Justice League movie, the fact that Superman was already kind of fast negated the fact of why would you need the Flash. But they kind of show you in this movie why the Flash is important, and he kind of has a pretty important role later on in the movie. Not just to just be jokes for Superman, but actually be an integral part of the team. And I think everybody in this movie gets a bump up in terms of what they need to do, and everybody's stakes are a little bit higher and a little bit more defined. Batman 2 is not just like a sad guy in the background just kind of hanging out while the supers are kind of doing all the work. He's actually got things to do. He is the crux of the movie in terms of he brings all the heroes together, and he is a linchpin in terms of the plan, which is what, you know, to a large degree is what Batman is in the Justice League. He's the brains. He's a smart dude. He's a smart dude. So it was nice kind of seeing that. Actually, I've been watching Batman v Superman. I was like, oh, that's right. Batman's super murdery in Batman v Superman because he's really grizzled and he's kind of like over it kind of thing. But I think this movie kind of brings him back. That's kind of the interesting arc that I didn't see in the first movie, was that this movie kind of brings back Batman from the brink a little bit. He's kind of like a little bit lost, I think, at the beginning of this movie and towards the end of Batman v Superman. He's a little bit lost because a lot of things have happened to him. But by the end of this movie, he's kind of been brought back from the brink because he's got friends now. So it's kind of cool seeing this all come together. Another mention I need to make is that Steppenwolf was probably, in my opinion, the weakest part of the original Justice League movie. Now, in this movie, he's probably now more of an integral part of the story. We've given him some good motivation of why he became Steppenwolf and what his motivation is in terms of why he's trying to take over the planet. He's not just like, oh, I just want to take over the planet because I'm a bad guy. He's actually got a little bit of motivation. They gave him a tragic motivation for doing what he's doing. And I really appreciated that. And they redesigned him too. He looks a lot better. They've definitely improved his design. I really like the little movie bits on his armor, which were kind of cool. And I thought he actually felt more menacing and a lot more rounded in terms of his performance and his motivations to want to take over Earth. Effectively, his motivation is to impress Darkseid. If you can imagine, it's kind of like Ronan from the Guardians of the Galaxy, but this guy, Steppenwolf in this case, has done something wrong. He's trying to get into the good graces of Darkseid, who is this universe's Thanos, who wants to, who knows why, but he wants to destroy life as we know it and take it over. But it was nice kind of seeing them kind of going back and re-giving him a motivation as well. And like I said at the top of this review, 4 hours actually was kind of like appropriate in the sense that for us to all catch up. I mean, you could spend the first 2 hours basically building the characters, and that's exactly what they did, is they just rebuilt all the characters from the ground up and just said, okay, here's everybody, here's where they're all at, this is why you should care about them. And I think those 2 hours are well worth spent, because towards the end, when the action finally did come, it didn't feel like noise. It actually felt like, hey, I'm actually on board with these guys defeating Steppenwolf and, you know, eventually triumphing. I'm sorry if you haven't seen it, but triumphing over the bad guy in this movie, and everybody coming together, and Superman coming back. There was more weight for Superman to come back, because I felt like the first 2 hours of this movie showed how out of their depth they were fighting Steppenwolf. Like, everybody was just failing against this guy, and I thought that when it sort of showed why they were so desperate to get Superman back, because he really does he kind of is the answer to the question. And it was a big gamble for them to kind of get Superman back. And so when it does come time to get him back, it makes complete sense. And it actually is a really great moment in the movie when Superman does come back. I was really excited about it. Like, I know I've seen this movie before, but I was really excited that Superman came back. Like, that was a great moment in the movie. So this sort of this is sort of a different question, I guess, and I'm not here to whether debate this movie is good or not. I liked it. I really did like it. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. It is a 4-hour slog, so just be ready to take an intermission if you want to. Not everybody's going to love this movie. If you don't like Zack Snyder movies in general, which I haven't in the past, but I thought this was pretty good. And I've been a big fan of Zack Snyder since 300, but there are some movies that he kind of like as he goes on, he hasn't really hit the mark for me. And I even thought Batman v Superman wasn't a movie for me. But actually seeing the ultimate cut, I actually thought that was a better version than the theatrical cut. Likewise with this Snyder cut of the Justice League movie, I actually enjoyed this like significantly more than the original Justice League movie. And I kind of like that they kind of toned down the quippiness of all the jokes and stuff. I'm kind of glad it wasn't so jokey. It's kind of a fine line. Again, it's not for everybody, but I think that most people will enjoy it. On another question, which was something I posed on Instagram today, which was, are 4-hour movies a thing that we could do in the future? Now, we aren't going to the movies as much as we normally do. I was watching a HBO special with Pete Holmes, and he was saying that it's kind of funny that you would come out to a live show to watch a comedy show when you could just be at home where everything is. You can watch any movie anytime in your pajamas with all the food and all the comforts, but you still choose to come to a comedy show. And I was thinking, that's kind of true. We have so much access to entertainment right now that it is ridiculously easy to kind of just flick on a movie. And if we don't want to finish the movie in one setting, we just turn it off and go to bed and come back and watch it the next day, the next night. And in that regard, I didn't have to sit and watch this in a 4-hour session, although I'm very used to watching a lot of stuff in long successions. Let's be honest. I watch a lot of TV shows. I think I watched like most of season 3 of Attack on Titan in one sitting. Like, it was pretty ridiculous. Anyway, but I digress. What I'm saying is that we're very used to sitting and watching long sessions of TV. And I'll be honest, this 4-hour session of this movie didn't feel that bad. In fact, I saw Infinity War twice at the cinemas, and both times, Infinity War specifically, Endgame was a little bit slow, but Infinity War actually was quite fast, I actually thought. For a 2.5 movie, almost close to 3-hour movie, I actually thought it was quite a fast movie. And 4 hours for the Justice League movie was a teeny bit long, but it wasn't like so long. It wasn't like Dances of Wolves long. Like, Dances of Wolves is a long movie. You gotta sit there, watch the vistas. It takes a long time to get through. It made me kind of think of like movies like Rise of Skywalker, which when I watched it at the cinemas was a complete mess of a movie. My goodness. I just felt like it was just going from point A to point B to point C to point D, point E, and then just blah, 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 blah. And then finally we get to the end and we blow up the something or other. And it was just like kind of not really a movie that had any development of any of the characters. We were just getting from point A to point B, and we just had to accept the fact that people died, people moved on, that kind of thing. And I kind of felt like, man, it felt like the studio was just telling J.J. Abrams to kind of throw in all this stuff. And I ever heard interviews later on that J.J. Abrams actually said, you know what, I actually didn't want this cut. I wanted some other things to happen, but the studio told me I had to make this other stuff happen. This cut is not my cut. This is the Disney cut. And he wanted to make everybody sure that they understood that what was released at cinemas was not his cut, but was in fact the Disney cut. All right, it's Nick from the future here. Look, I did a little bit of digging around the internet to see if any of these claims that J.J. Abrams was unhappy with the final cut. I can't actually find anything concrete, so let's just say this was a rumor that was going around on Reddit, on Twitter, that there was a cut. But apparently there is no official word on whether there is a J.J. cut. One of his best friends, J.J. Abrams' best friends, who's on all of J.J. Abrams' projects, said that there's nothing that he knows about which suggests that there is a J.J. Abrams cut. So let's just say this is a rumor for now. But it is an interesting story. I kind of was wondering, like, well, maybe there's a 4-hour version of The Rise of Skywalker, which is actually kind of half decent. Look, I didn't hate The Last Jedi. It was actually, at least I can see that it was like one guy's idea. Although I do think it kind of ruins some other things. That's another story for another day. And Force Awakens was like, it's all right. Force Awakens was a fine movie. But Rise of Skywalker, I don't know. I felt like that was just a compromise in the worst way. Like, you always hear about those studios kind of meddling and telling like directors what they need to do and what they don't need to do. I felt like Rise of Skywalker was exactly that. And I know J.J. Abrams is a very competent director. I feel like there was something else in there that he wanted to tell. Who knows? Maybe it might have been worse. Who knows? But I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt if there is a version where he actually can expand on more of the story in that movie, because I felt like there was just so many things in The Rise of Skywalker that just were not explained. And we're just like, you need to just go along with it because that is what the story demands of you and not think about it. Anyway, guys, what do you think? Do you think 4-hour movies are too long? What did you think of the Justice League movie? I actually really enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, I want to know why. I can understand why a lot of people didn't enjoy it. But in any case, if you didn't like the original Justice League movie, you're not going to really enjoy this one a lot more. But if you had a little bit of a soft spot for the Justice League movie and you kind of like Zack Snyder, I think you're going to enjoy this. And look, 4 hours, it's a lot of time to kill, but if you got the time, you got the time. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Hey guys, I want to tell you about this really awesome product that we've made called the Lyric Video Creator Kit. Designed to help you create lyric videos fast in Adobe Premiere. 22 animated presets, 10 overlay videos, 5 Premiere starter projects. And best of all, no After Effects skills necessary. Just drop these templates into your Essential Graphics panel and you are good to go. We even have a 30-minute masterclass to help you get started. So what are you waiting for? Grab your copy today and start making your own lyric videos.